it's Lindsay, and today I'm going to show you my first attempt at baking in my Instant Pot. I decided the other day that I wanted to make a cake in my Instant Pot, and I'm using a recipe out of the Keto Instant Pot Cookbook, and it's for an almond carrot cake, and it was on page 144. I substituted out the carrots with zucchini because that's what I had, and I want to show you what it looked like to bake this cake. This cake was all baked up and cooled completely, I stuck it in the refrigerator for overnight so that it would officially become like 100% cooled. So I didn't taste test it the day that I made it. I taste tested it the morning after, and I discovered a couple of things about it. Whenever I first went in to slice the cake, it was very wet. And it kind of puzzled me, thinking, okay, you know, it's baked in the Instant Pot. Okay, I can give it that. But it was super wet, and I wasn't really sure why. And then it occurred to me, carrots have a lower moisture content than zucchini does. So obviously, I had way more liquid in the recipe than what the recipe intended. I should have squeezed out that zucchini instead of grating it directly into my mixture, but it was what it was. Also, I didn't have any heavy whipping cream to put in the recipe, which is what it calls for. So I substituted out with some half and half, which it was okay. I probably should have used something, you know, like some almond milk with butter in it to make a substitute heavy whipping cream, but I didn't, so I just made do with what I had. And I also recognize the fact that almond flour or almond meal doesn't really absorb liquids very well, and so I should have probably added in a little bit of coconut flour in place of a little bit of that almond flour. But you know, it was my first time to bake a cake in my Instant Pot, so there's that. Come here, you. Come here. Hello. When I went to eat or taste test this cake, I didn't really want to eat a super wet cake, and I decided instead to slice it up and pan fry it in some butter to see if I couldn't get like a crispy outer like layer to it, and that worked out pretty okay. It was really tasty, but the texture was still really kind of not exactly what I was expecting. I thought that crisping it up or toasting it or pan frying it or however you want to describe it in a skillet was going to really help, and it did give it a little bit of a texture improvement on the outer, you know, surface of it, but the remainder of it still was really kind of wet and a little bit on the eggy side, which I was surprised at, because I think, how many eggs did it say? Mama, look. Because it only had 3 eggs in it, which isn't, whoa, baby on the run. Give a baby a colander and a wooden spoon and you got some high quality entertainment there for her. The cake overall was a little bit on the eggy-ish side, and that doesn't generally bother me, so it was neither here nor there. But I know a lot of people out there do struggle with the eggy texture, and if you do, I would maybe skip this particular cake, or I think really adding or substituting out the almond meal for Trim Healthy Mama baking blend. I think that would actually give a different texture that would be a little bit better, but I haven't tested that theory yet. If you do, let me know. It's a really good, like a breakfast cake in my opinion, if I could substitute out the almond meal for Trim Healthy Mama baking blend to make it less heavy, and if I could remember to actually squeeze the liquid out of the zucchini before putting it in the cake. Obviously, I haven't tried this with carrots the way that the recipe was written, but there was a note in there stating specifically that you could substitute zucchini to make it a lower carb, like an even lower carb cake. And I had zucchini that was going bad, or that was on the brink of going bad, so I needed to use that up. I'm not sure how well you can see this, but I went ahead and I cooked up some more, and the crust got a little bit too brown, but it's still exceptionally soft. I don't know how well I can capture that. And it's not quite the cake texture I was expecting. And in the recipe notes, it does tell you to, or in the recipe, do you hear this? Apparently the floor needed to be beat with a wooden spoon by the baby. It's one of these things where I think this recipe needs to be tweaked a little further. It's a little bit hard to describe. I don't think it can be fully described, so I got like a little bit burnt here. But overall, I feel like the flavor is really good. I want to play with this more. It's still really wet, even after trying to burn the ever-living out of it on that skillet, but I wasn't really expecting miracles to happen this far into the game. I think it's an interesting cake. I think it makes a good breakfast as opposed to a dessert, and I'm really interested in continuing to try baking in my Instant Pot. I really hope you can hear me over Lauren down here. Lulu, what are you doing? Yeah. What are you doing, ma'am? You playing? That's all I've got right now. It's an interesting cake, and I'm going to continue to play with it. If you're new here, I really appreciate you coming and watching my video all the way to this point. And I would love for you to check out some of my other content, see if it's anything that you're interested in, and consider subscribing. For all of my current subscribers, I really appreciate you watching me and sticking with me. This summer has been kind of cattywampus and all over the place, so I really appreciate you hanging here with me. And hopefully soon we'll get back on a more normal schedule. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye. All right, we gotta go eat this food. This cake would be so much better if we could just figure out the texture issues. You wanna try some? Ooh, hot. Wanna have it?